You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button.
Third and 3. Stafford going to the end zone, reaching up and making the grab. Odell Beckham Jr. Halfway through the season, they showed him the door in Cleveland. Said basically, get out of here. Rams took him, scores the first touchdown of the Super Bowl.
Al Michaels on the call. Odell Beckham with the first touchdown to Super Bowl 56. But his day did not come without cost. 2 receptions for Odell, including that touchdown, but also a torn ACL. Whenever we watched it happen and you see a non-contact injury from a skilled player like that when he goes down, we've just seen it enough to know exactly what it was going to be. But Ian Rappaport earlier today was the first to tweet it. Beckham believed to have torn his ACL in the Super Bowl win. Means a long road to recovery for the free agent who has a challenge to be ready for 2022. Beckham had 2 catches for 52 yards, a touchdown, and 1 moonwalk before the injury, as Rappaport pointed out there in his tweet. So after the game, there was no media availability for Odell, but CBS Sports cameras did catch up with him sort of in the bowels of SoFi Stadium, and this is what Odell had to say briefly.
How does it feel to be Super Bowl champ?
Man, world champion, man. God is good, It was all a part of the plan, so I'm just happy to be here.
Good spirits. Devastating to see him walk off the way he did, injured. And, I know also that Odell's had a really interesting relationship with the NFL, with LSU fans, certainly, with everybody in the NFL. He, as a rookie, came into the league and it took the league by storm. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year and had one of the most famous catches in NFL history on Sunday Night Football against the Giants, or for the Giants against the Cowboys. And despite his stardom, he didn't handle that well. He continued playing exceptionally well in New York, but then all of the antics kind of caught up to him, and the Giants decided to move on. So they trade him to the Browns. He reunited with Jarvis, which looked and said, okay, it's a new beginning for Odell, which is going to serve him exceptionally well. And it didn't. He tore his ACL there in Cleveland as well, against the Bengals, incidentally. And it never really worked for Odell in Cleveland. As a matter of fact, he went almost 2 years without a 100-yard receiving game until in the playoffs with the Rams. I mean, it was literally a situation where Cleveland they cut him. I mean, Odell Sr. posted the video of all the times that Baker Mayfield sort of missed Odell Jr., and it got to the point where Cleveland just said, we're done, just get out of here. So you kind of wonder what was going to be next for Odell, and I know selfishly we all wanted Odell here in New Orleans as the Saints were desperate for receiving help, and Beckham certainly could have been a giant help. But in the end, he picked a situation that was a better situation. Knew who he'd be catching balls from in Matt Stafford in that offense where they knew how to use him. And he emerged in the regular season, 8 games with the Rams, 27 receptions for 300 yards and 5 scores in those 8 regular games. And look at the postseason. Again, 27 receptions in 8 regular season games, 21 receptions in the 4 postseason games with 288 and 2 touchdowns. So Beckham becomes a Super Bowl champion, one of the most famous players in the NFL, and at his peak, one of the best receivers we've ever seen. He was setting records. He was setting records for most receptions for a player in his first year and then 2 years, most receiving yards first year or 2 years, which it was incredible to see, bested only then by Jarvis as he came in. But, for Odell, it's a little bit of a conflicting moment. And I look at Odell, honestly, in a very similar way. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar to the comments that I made about Jameis when the Saints brought him in. And so many people only wanted to talk about crab legs and eating a W and all that sort of stuff. And the reality is that sometimes guys who are young and reach superstardom don't handle it well. And Odell, I don't think did. I don't think he handled all of that well. But he's met adversity, being shipped out of New York and then cut by Cleveland. He's had to grow up through an ACL tear. And if you notice the video that's making the rounds with he and his mom and his girlfriend, he's an expected father right now as well. And a lot of that stuff just forces you to grow up. And I think that's happened for Odell, and I sure hope it has, because I enjoyed covering him during his time at LSU, and he's a phenomenal football player, and he's got to battle through now a second torn ACL in his left knee, and he's set to be a free agent here in a few weeks. And what will teams be willing to pay for him remains to be seen. But he's a undeniable freak show talent when healthy and right. How right will he get again? I don't know. But this is has to be a very validating moment for Odell, considering all of the darts. I mean, he's been target practice for a lot of talking heads over the last half decade or so. And now he's a Super Bowl champion. Listen, I hate the Rams, even more so because of the Nola no call and everything that happened thereafter. But I do feel good individually for people on that team. I feel very good for Odell Beckham winning a championship. I feel very good for Andrew Whitworth winning a championship. I think Matthew Stafford's one of the good guys in the NFL who suffered for a decade in Detroit. You know what Matthew Stafford was Detroit's Archie Manning. He's the best player they ever had, but was just on terrible teams. I mean, that's the best equation I can give you to something here that would make sense. Great player, terrible teams. No matter how good that quarterback was, the teams were never going to be any better than they were when they reached the heights that he brought them to. I think Cooper Kupp's a great story, right? I mean, Eastern Washington, the video of him working out for Sean McVay on the red field. I mean, now he's a Super Bowl MVP. There's some great stories there. And I think Odell's as good of him as any. And I hope this is one of those moments for him where it's not the end of the story, but it's just the next chapter of the story where whatever's left in his career is very productive and fruitful and leads him toward the Hall of Fame, which he was certainly on that trajectory before, the misgivings in New York, being not productive and being cut in Cleveland, but now showed again what he is and what he can be when he's right, which is awesome. I think all LSU fans should be happy for him and should be cheering for Odell Beckham. So congrats to OBJ, a Super Bowl champion, along with Andrew Whitworth. So the list of former LSU Tigers that have won a Super Bowl grows, and LSU did post this graphic as well as an ode to Andrew Whitworth. Players that won a national championship and a Super Bowl. Andrew Whitworth now joins that number as well, as there are 16 players that have won both. So congrats to the LSU guys for being able to hoist a trophy last night. I know a lot of people were pulling for Burrow and Chase and the Bengals, but don't forget about Odell and Big Whit as well. Great moment for those two guys. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.